everyone. Come on in because I'm finally here to review Married at First Sight, Season 19, Episode 7. I know I'm late, but hey, there's a lot going on. And like I said, this new format, part of it I like with Married at First Sight, part of it I don't because it's hard to keep up with so many episodes dropping so fast. But hopefully, even though I know most of you have moved on, hopefully you can circle on back to me and go over this episode with me because we got a lot to talk about. First of all, the episode opened up with Chad out on his balcony with his American flag. He was bringing Belinda some flowers. Chad said, I got me a new family, a new family. His children did not show up for the wedding because he said they all spread out. But he said, that's okay. I got me a new family with Josh, Jaylen, and Belinda. And he said, we're going to have us a good old crawfish bowl. And Chad knows how to have a good time. He sure was getting saucy this episode when he went out drinking with the fellas. He came back real saucy. Belinda said she liked it though. She liked the friskiness. But I can see this whole family sort of blending together. You know, Chad is into commercial real estate. Josh is a roofer with a company. Hey, maybe they can do some business together. Maybe they can do some business together. But anyway, Jaylen let us know that she told her mama that she and Chad, not Chad, she and Josh both told each other that they love each other. And Jaylen told her mama that she was going to sign the prenup, post-nup, not prenup, post-nup, that Josh wanted her to sign. And then that mama said, hold up, wait a minute, and started giving her some bad advice. Jaylen was like, wait a minute, I got this man in the bag. If he want me to sign a post-nup, who cares? But then that mama brought in all her own fears, not Jaylen's fears, her own fears. And she said, hold on now. I want you to remember what happened to me with your daddy. Me and your daddy got married young. We didn't have no prenup. But when he left, he didn't give me no real good child support. So I had to go back out into the workforce and make money. And that was difficult. And Jaylen said, don't worry about it, mama. I'm not going to be like you because I don't plan on being no stay-at-home mom. I plan on having me a thriving business. Ain't you seen me on this Peloton bike? My husband, Josh, is going to show me how to start a business because he done built one for $5 million and I'm going to build me one too. So don't you worry, mama. I'm not going to be like you. So you don't have to take your fears and transpose them onto mine. But that mama said, no. You got to listen to me. You know what? You may get divorced and you may have kids. And the more Jaylen listened to that mama, the more she got scared. But Jaylen said, I'm not trying to shoo away this man, Josh. I'm going to drop it. I'm going to leave it alone. And guess what? As they say, you can catch more bees with honey than you can do vinegar. Because when Josh realized that the reason Jaylen wasn't upset or even scared to sign a post-nup, he said, you know what? I'm going to drop it all together. Because you know what? You didn't act funny about it. You didn't take your mama's advice and try to create a big kerfuffle over it. So because I like the way you handled the situation, forget about it, girl. You ain't got to sign no post-nup. And them experts was like, what you mean? What about your business partner? And Josh was like, what business partner? I made that up. I know he made it up. I know we got a business partner, but I know Josh was probably trying to put it on more on his business partner. But so what? Jaylen closed the deal. She closed the deal. She said, I'm not going to do like you, mama, and be running around scared all the time. And her mama was scared to tell Chad that she loved him. And Chad kept wanting to hear it over and over again. Please tell me you love me. Please tell me you love me. But once Jaylen's mama found out that Jaylen and Josh exchanged the I love yous, all of a sudden she was feeling a little bit better about telling him. And she finally in this episode was able to tell him, I love you. I love you. So there you go. Jaylen and Josh, Chad and Belinda, they looking good. Along with that dog Lovey that ain't got no home training. He be jumping on everyone. Chad, didn't you tell us you know how to bark orders? Well, you need to bark some orders at that dog Lovey because that dog Lovey is wild, 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 wild. So these two couples, they looking good, y'all. They are looking good. I like the experts. The experts played the game with Josh and Jaylen and said, "Hey, y'all ain't had no arguments. This ain't normal. Y'all have to have some disagreements. Maybe the reason why y'all don't have no disagreements is because you're not talking about nothing real." And that's when they made Dr. P and made him play this game. I thought it was a good game, asking questions about, are you going to share your passwords? And then Josh got a little bit in trouble when Jaylen found out he still follows his ex, and his ex still follows him. Jaylen said, what, who, where? I don't like this. You could see it come all over her face. But she didn't say nothing in this episode, but something tells me in the episodes coming up, she gonna have a lot to say. Maybe this is when Josh tells her, don't roll your eyes at me. I'm still waiting on the moment where Josh tells Jaylen, don't you ever roll your eyes at me again. I know I'm going to be cracking up at that moment. But you know what moment I wasn't cracking up with? Derek and Megan. We got to talk about it, y'all. Some of y'all going to be surprised at what I got to say. But I got to first play my introduction video. I know it's late. I'm playing it late. Y'all ask me why I'm playing it so late now. Because YouTube told me they don't want no music at the front of my videos. They said they need to figure out what this video is about. And when I play music, they can't figure it out. So here I am, sticking it somewhere else. Alrighty, so I'll see y'all in a minute after I play my introduction. It ain't introduction no more after I play my video. See you in a minute. Well, now we're back, y'all. We are back to talk about Derek and Megan, and boy, was this episode explosive. But I know what? Like I said, Zoe was going to like Derek more than Megan, and sure enough, that dog Zoe is sticking to Derek like glue. And you know what? Derek is warming up to Zoe too. He likes her because now all of a sudden last week he was calling Zoe a it. Now all of a sudden he at least calling her a she. So Derek got to going over to Megan's house. He liked Megan's house. Derek is like, ooh, good. A house is a home because we know Derek is a wanderer. Derek don't really lay down no real deep roots nowhere. He been wandering the world, country to country. So it probably feels good for him to be in a house like Megan's and say, ooh, this is a house I can call home. You know, we know Derek and Megan are having a hard time. Megan's out here acting a fool. But even though Megan is acting a fool, guess what? Derek is saying the intimacy is great. He's saying the sex is good. He ain't got no complaints in that area. He said he also writes a lot about Megan, that she's really hardworking. I'm telling you, Derek and Megan have more things in common than it looks like on the surface. Derek says he wants a hardworking woman because Derek said, I don't want to be doing all the hard working and you ain't doing none. So he likes the drive in Derek. What he don't like in the drive in Megan, what he doesn't like about Megan is her mouth. Now, you know, Derek goes on out with his friend of his. Is his name Chuck or something? I don't know who he is. And he starts telling Chuck that he's not so sure about how many kids Megan wants. He tells his friend Chuck that, you know, Megan froze her eggs, and but she only wants one kid and I want 3. And then he says, you know, she gets defensive a lot and she's really hard to communicate with. And but Derek said, you know what? But I don't care because I'm not going to compromise on one, the big family. I draw the line in the sand, in the cement, whatever you want to call it. And his friend said, yeah, man, don't put your desires to the side. Well, let me tell you something. This is what I believe about Derek. Derek has never put his desires to the side. That's why I believe he's country to country, woman to woman. Now, here, when Derek comes home and tells Megan, hey, I was talking to my friend Chuck and telling him we got some things to work out around family planning. And I was telling him that you don't want one kid, you want three kids, and that you froze your eggs. Megan was like, why are you talking about my womb to Chuck? Why are you talking about my womb with your friend Chuck? You know what? As much as people don't like Megan, I was with her. Was I with her tone? Was I with her delivery? Hell to the no. I didn't like the way she put it at all, one bit, but her premise, her principle, what she was talking about was correct. I'm agree with her. But Megan was going off on this man, acting a fool, talking about what irks her, using a nasty tone, talking about, you know, I want kids. You should have known I wanted kids. We up here doing the nasty, the dirty thing, the wild thing, and we not even using any protection. So what would make you not think I want kids? Megan sat up here and talked about how annoyed she was and acted as if what she was annoyed about was that Derek didn't know for sure if she wanted kids. And that's not what Megan was upset about. What Megan was upset about was that he talked to Chuck about it. Don't be telling him my business and about my womb. That's what she was upset about. But because Megan is so defensive, has the worst communication skills I've ever seen, she didn't know how to articulate it. And then when she does try to articulate her emotions, she yells and she screams and she gets nasty. Pretty much she acts like her mama. That's where she get it from. She gets it from her mama. And what Megan has learned, because her mama has been allowed to do it in her own house all these years, Megan has learned to act like this through her mama, because her mama gets away with it. And that daddy of Megan's obviously does not put his foot down with that mama and says, we ain't having none of that. Where is Josh to come over here and tell these women, don't you ever roll your eyes at me? Because right now, Megan has picked up some horrible, horrible habits from her mama. She is mean, she is nasty, but I'm going to tell you what, that Derek is stubborn too. They're really two stubborn people. The problem is they both communicate. You know, I know Derek think he got the best communication because he talks all calmly and sweet and he don't raise his voice. He's good at de-escalation. He is good at that. But in terms of communication, I'll be honest with you, I'm not all that impressed with Derek, because I don't see how Derek didn't even issue an apology on having this conversation with Chuck, but not having it with Megan. Now, hold up, wait a minute. I'm okay with friends talking to friends. We all do it. But where Derek bothered me was when he came back and he wanted to have the conversation with Megan. He should have just had the conversation. But instead, what he did was he said, my friend Chuck said. Your friend Chuck said, why would you say that, Derek? Derek said he said it because he's afraid of Megan. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I think what Derek was trying to say is, it's just not me. It's my friend Chuck too. And it backfired. And even after it backfired, what I didn't like that Derek didn't do is he didn't own that part of the argument. Now, Megan has to completely own the part of her attitude, her zero emotional regulation, her fight or flight, her nastiness, everything, her meanness. She needs to own all of that. But Derek does need to own his part too. And right now, I kind of see the part about where Derek said, you don't take any accountability. We're not telling you, Derek, to take all accountability, that you have to take blame for what Megan is doing. And let me tell you, Megan is by far the worst of the two. So I'm not trying to let Megan off the hook. But in that moment, I was a bit surprised, very surprised, that Derek couldn't see through a little bit of that, the part that was bothering Megan, which was, why would you have this conversation with a friend and then come back to my face and say, Chuck said? I don't care about no Chuck. You know what? I don't care about no Chuck. But, you know, Megan was running around talking about she was blindsided, she was ambushed. She was none of that. She was absolutely none of that. Megan is a one-trick pony. Every time there's a conversation to be had that she doesn't want to have, She uses the same old language. I was ambushed and blindsided. Basically, that's code for I don't want to talk about this. So I'm going to yell and scream and get up and throw a tantrum and walk out the room. Meg is immature in her communication style. You know what? I can really see how she ain't had no how long has it been since she's been in a relationship? She said 7 years. I could see it. I could see it all over her. But I can also see what's kept Derek single all these years. You know, this thing I got with Derek, sometimes he does stand there with his eyes real big. I don't know if he is just, he says he's scared of Megan or if he's trying to think along the way. Because something tells me Derek is a runner himself. And what he's trying to do differently in this relationship is stick. So I commend him for that. And so I think he's practicing a whole lot of patience. He's practicing a whole lot of, better listening skills. And I think he's going against sometimes maybe what his natural personality is, which I believe normally would be to run. That's what I think Derek is a runner too. Megan says she's a runner, but I think Derek's a runner too. But I think in this moment, he's choosing to be a little different because I was surprised, like I said, that he wasn't able to see any part of why Megan was upset. But anyway, we got to move on to another person whose personality is real up and down, wishy-washy, no emotional regulation, and that's Britney. But I want to tell you, I'm feeling much better about Britney and Will. I'm starting to feel real good about them. And you know why? I'm feeling good about them because of Will. Will is the one that surprised me. Will is the one that has changed my mind somewhat about him. Do I still think that Will could have a bit of a sharp tongue? Yeah, because I know what I saw when he was dealing with those parents. I saw what I saw when I saw it. But let me tell you what I'm realizing a bit about Will. Will want to be married. Will is lonely. Will is out on this road, 4 days a week traveling. Have any of y'all ever traveled for work? It can be lonely. And, a lot of times you want to come home to someone, to a nice home cooked meal. And, he did come home and Brittany, she put some salmon in the air fryer and some rice in the microwave. Hey, she did it at home. So some of y'all don't call that home cooked, but she did it at home. She tried. And as soon as she made that plate for him, she was like a puppy dog. Is it good? Is it good? I tell you, Brittany needs a lot of validation, a lot of validation. And Will said this is hard work. He done told all the fellas, pumping up Brittany, stroking her ego, giving her positive affirmations is a lot of work. This is hard work. But Will says, I'm willing to put in the work because I'm lonely and I'm tired of running these streets. And I want to be able to come home to somebody because when he came home, he was happy to see Brittany. I believe he was happy to see Brittany. The problem is, and I don't know if I'm going to call it a problem is, can Will keep this up? Because I already know Will is operating outside of himself. So I hope the change he is trying to make is real. It's really, really real. And I think he's trying so hard that even Brittany don't believe it. Brittany's like, you ain't got no complaints. You ain't got no complaints about my hair shedding, nothing at all. He said, yeah, I do have a complaint. The complaint I do have is why you ask me the same thing over and over again. But he said it with a smile. And Brittany's like, oh yeah, that part. Girl, yes, that part. We are all wondering, why does he have to say things over and over and over again? But Brittany said, the love is real. And Will told her, don't worry about your hair shedding. Because like India.Arie said, I'm not my hair. Will said he knew India.Arie's song. Is Will in tune? He said he's emotionally intelligent. So maybe he's emotionally intelligent, not only with female feelings, but women's feelings and everything. But one thing about Britney, like I said, poor communication. She communicated like a child. She uses that little whiny voice like a child. I don't know why she does that. Does she whine like that so she can appear vulnerable? I don't know. Or she can appear dainty and feminine. I can't stand that whiny voice of Britney because I feel like it's too close to the fact that I think some of her emotions are really childlike. Even when they went to go visit her apartment and how she was all upset because Will didn't say her apartment looked good enough. But one thing we do know about Britney, she happy now because I think the sex is back on, y'all. She said they are not having any more problems in the intimacy area. What I wonder, are they using protection? That's what I wonder. Okay, if y'all back in the sheets together, are you back using protection? I don't know, because Britney, when this man was on his business trip, she was ready to have some phone sex. Couldn't y'all tell? Brittany was ready to have some phone sex. I do believe it. But hey, this was a good week for them. They did pretty well. Even though Will has talked about how difficult this is, he doesn't seem like he's ready to give up. And Brittany seems like she's becoming more and more comfortable in the relationship. But you know who's not feeling more comfortable? I don't think Pat's feeling more comfortable with Rhonda. I don't. I think Rhonda wants a blow up doll. Rhonda was so happy to have this man, Pat, over to her house doing gardening with her. Just last week, Rhonda barely wanted the man in her house. He couldn't even spend the night, couldn't even have no room in the closet. But now she got him out here slaving over the garden, moving stuff around, and she's happy about it. Rhonda's so selfish. She is so selfish. She goes, oh, before I didn't want you in my house, but now that I see I can get you to do chores for me, maybe I will have you. The only reason Rhonda's now warming up to Pat living in her house or being around is because now she feels as if she can use and abuse him to do some gardening work, have him as a handyman. Rhonda always thinking about herself, always thinking about herself first. And let me tell you, even when she was telling that story, and she was saying, well, the reason why I didn't want you living here at first, Pat, and I had all those nasty words to say, is because I was triggered from my last marriage. And at my last marriage, me and my kids, we moved into my ex's house a week before the wedding. And when I moved there, I didn't like his bedding. I didn't like his drapes. I didn't like nothing in that house. So what I went out and did was I went out without asking, without talking to him, and I bought all new stuff. And then when I came home, he yelled at me talking about, don't be getting rid of my stuff. This is my house. And then Rhonda said, ooh, he was wrong for doing that. Rhonda does not look at how she went into somebody's house, threw away their drapes, their bedspreads, replaced every damn thing, didn't say nothing to the man. She don't look at what she did. All she looks at is his reaction. That's Rhonda for you. Rhonda never takes a look at what she does. Well, Rhonda, if you want to get rid of people's drapes and beddings, maybe you should have had a conversation. Maybe y'all should have gone shopping together. But that's not what Rhonda did. Rhonda does what she always does. She does whatever the hell she wants to do. And then when you got a problem with it, she tells you, you the problem. I'm not the problem. Poor Rhonda. Rhonda too old to make a change. At this point in time, I don't believe that Rhonda is going to be able to make a change. I don't believe it. I don't see it coming. And Pat, I don't know. He's such a people pleaser. Is he willing to put up with this? Is he willing to let Rhonda run all over him like this? And is he constantly going to have to be drawing such hard boundaries with Rhonda and tussling with her like this all the time? Ugh. Run, Pat, run. I don't know why anybody would want to go through this. Like I said, Rhonda is hard to help because she's so unaware on who she is and how she shows up. And she kind of thinks she's always right. And to get through to her, for her to change, she'd have to start realizing that she got a lot of red flags, a lot of them. But anyway, that's all I got, y'all. That's all I got. I'm going to catch up with y'all. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.